Welcome back to Database Internal's Crashcasts. I'm Sheila, and as always, I'm here with my co-host, Victor. Before we dive into today's topic, I want to remind our listeners that if you're enjoying our show, please rate us on your favorite podcast platform. Your support means the world to us.
That's right, Sheila. Your ratings help us reach more database enthusiasts and keep this show going. Now, let's get into today's exciting topic: use cases and applications of databases. This is the final section of our chapter on what is a database.
Absolutely, Victor. And to kick things off, I have a quiz question for our listeners. Are you ready?
I'm always ready for a good database quiz, Sheila. Let's hear it.
All right, here goes. In which of the following fields would you least expect to find a database being used? A. Agriculture. B. Fashion. C. Space exploration. Or D. Professional sports.
Oh, that's an intriguing question, Sheila. It really makes you think about how pervasive databases are in our modern world. I have a feeling our listeners might be surprised by the answer. Without giving anything away, I think this question highlights how databases have found their way into virtually every industry and aspect of our lives.
Exactly, Victor. It's a great way to introduce our topic of use cases and applications. Before we delve deeper, let's quickly review some key terms for our listeners. Victor, could you give us a quick refresher on what a database is?
Certainly, Sheila. A database is an organized collection of structured information or data, typically stored electronically in a computer system. It's designed to efficiently manage, retrieve, and update large amounts of information. Databases can be relational, like SQL databases, or non-relational, like NoSQL databases, each with its own strengths and ideal use cases.
Thanks, Victor. That's a great foundation for our discussion. Now, let's start exploring the various use cases and applications of databases. Can you give us an overview of how databases are used in everyday life?
Absolutely, Sheila. Databases are all around us, often working behind the scenes in ways we might not even realize. For example, when you check your bank account balance on your smartphone, you're interacting with a database. When you browse products on an e-commerce website, you're accessing information stored in a database. Even when you send a text message or scroll through your social media feed, databases are involved in storing and retrieving that information.
That's fascinating, Victor. It seems like databases are the unsung heroes of our digital world. Can you give us an example of how a specific industry might use databases in a unique way?
Certainly. Let's take the healthcare industry as an example. Hospitals and clinics use databases to store patient records, including medical histories, test results, and treatment plans. These databases need to be highly secure due to privacy regulations, and they often need to handle complex relationships between different types of data. For instance, a patient's record might be linked to multiple doctor visits, prescriptions, and lab tests.
That makes sense. I can see how important it would be to have all that information organized and easily accessible. Are there any challenges specific to using databases in healthcare?
Great question, Sheila. One of the main challenges in healthcare databases is ensuring interoperability, the ability for different systems to communicate and share data seamlessly. Imagine if a patient visits different hospitals or specialists. Ideally, their medical information should be accessible and understood across all these systems. Another challenge is handling unstructured data, like doctor's notes or medical imaging files, which don't fit neatly into traditional relational database structures.
I see. So it's not just about storing the data, but also about how it can be shared and used effectively. This brings up an interesting point. How do organizations choose the right type of database for their needs?
That's a crucial question, Sheila. The choice of database depends on several factors, including the type and volume of data, the required speed of data retrieval, scalability needs, and the complexity of relationships within the data. For example, a social media platform might choose a graph database to efficiently manage complex user relationships and connections. On the other hand, A financial institution might opt for a relational database to ensure data integrity and support complex transactions.
That makes sense. It's like choosing the right tool for the job. Speaking of tools, I've heard that some companies use multiple types of databases together. Is that common?
Absolutely, Sheila. This approach is becoming increasingly common and is often referred to as a polyglot persistence strategy. Companies might use a relational database for structured data that requires strong consistency, like financial transactions, while simultaneously using a NoSQL database for handling high-volume, less structured data, like user-generated content or log files.
That's interesting. It reminds me of a Swiss Army knife. Different tools for different needs, all in one package. Now, I'm curious about some of the more unusual or unexpected applications of databases. Can you share an example?
Of course. One fascinating application is in the field of genomics. Researchers use specialized databases to store and analyze vast amounts of genetic data. These databases need to handle enormous volumes of information. A single human genome can take up about 200 gigabytes of storage. They also need to support complex queries that can help identify genetic patterns related to diseases or traits.
Wow, that's incredible. It really shows how versatile databases can be. Now, let's circle back to our quiz question. Victor, would you like to reveal the answer?
Absolutely, Sheila. The answer to our quiz question is, there isn't really a least likely option. Databases are used extensively in all of the fields mentioned: agriculture, fashion, space exploration, and professional sports. In agriculture, databases help manage crop data and optimize farming practices. Fashion companies use databases for inventory management and trend analysis. Space agencies use databases to store and analyze vast amounts of scientific data. And in professional sports, databases are used for everything from player statistics to game analysis and fan engagement.
That's a great reminder of just how ubiquitous databases have become. As we wrap up this episode, could you summarize the key points we've covered about database use cases and applications?
Certainly, Sheila. Here are the main takeaways. 1. Databases are used in virtually every industry and aspect of modern life. 2. Different types of databases are suited for different applications, depending on factors like data structure, volume, and query requirements. Point 3. Many organizations use multiple types of databases together to meet diverse needs. 4. Databases enable complex operations in fields ranging from healthcare to genomics to sports analytics. 5. The choice of database can significantly impact an organization's efficiency and capabilities.
Thank you, Victor. That's a great summary. And to our listeners, remember that this concludes our chapter on What is a Database? We hope you've gained a solid understanding of databases, their types, history, and now, their wide-ranging applications. Join us next time as we dive into our new chapter on database models. Before we go, we'd love to hear from you. Visit crashcasts.com to join our Discord community, where you can discuss today's topic and suggest ideas for future episodes. If you're enjoying our show, please consider supporting us on Patreon. And don't forget to subscribe and rate us on your favorite podcast platform. Until next time, keep exploring the fascinating world of databases.